Right now, Republicans who are expecting a red wave didn't quite get the results they were hoping for. How one age group appears to have played a key role.
Also, Mandela Barnes concedes to Senator Ron Johnson, the message he had for his supporters.
And later, Governor Evers gets another 4 years. We take a look at some of the key areas in the state that decided the race. Welcome to News 3 Now at 6. The results are in, and after hours and counting the ballots last night, Wisconsin is sticking with Democratic Governor Tony Evers and Senate Republican Ron Johnson. Tonight, we'll hear from Democrat Mandela Barnes after conceding earlier today, plus how Governor Evers was able to win re-election.
But before that, some severe weather is heading our way and could potentially create some tornadoes. Let's check your certified most accurate forecast with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canaldi.
Yeah, it's something we're watching for tomorrow. We have an alert day in the forecast. This is not a major severe weather outbreak, but it's kind of unusual for this time of year. You can see on Doppler track right now, just some light showers up toward the Twin Cities. Those are heading toward northwestern Wisconsin. We're probably going to stay dry through much of tomorrow morning and maybe even into early tomorrow afternoon. But the Storm Prediction Center does have a slight risk or a level 2 risk of severe thunderstorms across the western part of our viewing area. Pretty much everybody else in a marginal or level 1 risk. And again, the main threats are going to be high winds and perhaps an isolated tornado or two. We'll have to see if that really comes to fruition. A lot of that will just depend on the timing of the front and how much cloud cover there is ahead of it. So tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, areas west of Madison have the highest severe weather threat. But high temperatures today were in the upper 60s. Madison hit 69. To the west, it was in the middle 70s. 74 in Boscobel, 72 degrees in Mineral Point, 73 in Platteville. And current temperatures are still well into the 60s. And Prairie du Chien and Boscobel are still in the 70s. Temperatures are a little cooler closer to Lake Michigan, but across Dane County, 66 right now in Stoughton, 68 in Verona, and 67 in Cross Plains. Look for skies to be partly cloudy this evening. Temperatures dropping off into the lower 60s by 10 p.m. And again, not only do we have the threat for severe weather tomorrow, but we also could set a record high temperature. And that'll be followed by much colder weather on Friday. I'll have more on that in the forecast in a few minutes.
Heading into the election, Republicans were confident of taking control of Congress, but it hasn't been the red wave many had hoped for, and it may have been the youngest voters making the biggest difference.
Well, take a look at this. This is from a CNN National House exit poll. It shows older voters, those 65 and up, skewed a fair amount toward Republicans, but the younger voters, first those between 30 and 44, they did lean Democrat, but the youngest voters, 18 to 29, went very heavily to Democrats. Many political analysts already crediting those young voters for swinging a tight governor's race. Tahlil Mohadeen spoke with students on UW's campus today and joins us live to share why they were so motivated to vote. Tahlil?
Students on campus told me the issues that were at stake this election were simply too high for them not to get involved. And experts say their turnout at the polls yesterday should have a lasting impact. If you think PACs and parties pushed hard to get you to vote yesterday, try being a college student.
There were people on the Memorial Union, like every single day, really making sure, like, I was approached multiple times. Hey, are you registered? Have you voted?
That created a buzz on the UW-Madison campus that you don't typically see during a midterm election.
Everyone was really enamored and out and trying to get everyone to go make their voice heard.
It's just a huge win for our democracy.
Political science professor Anthony Chergosky says it's too soon to say for sure, but student participation may be the main factor that helped Tony Evers beat Tim Michels last night.
The results in Dane County were extremely impressive for the Democrats, and we know that central to Dane County's politics is the UW-Madison campus. So I imagine that the UW-Madison vote really played a major role in the broader outcomes.
But for students, it was more about the issues than the names in front of them.
My biggest thing is Roe v. Wade and abortion rights. That's my biggest topic that I vote for, and I think that was kind of a big topic for a lot of people my age. But
reproductive rights and everything was a bigger portion of why I was voting. Support for the governor and education was another big thing.
And education in future election plans, Chergosky suggests that candidates from both sides should learn.
Candidates need to take time to get to know young voters, take time to get to understand the concerns of young voters, and really make a strong effort to attract the support of young voters.
Chergosky also says in a state like Wisconsin, where close races are the norm, young voters will be essential to the success of future campaigns.
Tahlil, thank you. Now, if you're looking for more election coverage, you can find it at channel3000.com. We have the latest results and stories from last night. Just click on the banner at the top of our homepage.
We proved that once again we could resurrect that very, very important, diverse coalition of people to move, to work against the powers to be.
That was the reaction from Mandela Barnes supporters after the Associated Press finally called Wisconsin's U.S. Senate race, naming incumbent Ron Johnson the winner.
That call came late this morning, and shortly afterwards, Barnes conceded the race. Here with more is political reporter Will Keneally.
So we had a sense that this was how the race was going to shape up last night. Johnson had the lead towards the end of the night, and that solidified this morning. The forecasts in the election favored Johnson, but Barnes came close, benefiting from a good night for Democrats across the board. He thanked his supporters in Milwaukee a few hours ago.
I got into this race because I believe in the Wisconsin promise of a fair shot at success, whether you're a dairy farmer in Monroe or a thrift store owner in Superior.
So he said he wanted to continue pushing for the promise that he touched on right there. And in his concession speech, his concession call to Johnson, Barnes says that he mentioned pushing for that promise. So we're looking here at largely a continuation of the last 6 years for Johnson. He's marketed himself as a check on the Biden administration, so you'll likely see him continue to be a reliable conservative vote in the Senate.
Well, we're looking at a Johnson win, right, and an Evers win, so clearly there were some split tickets out there last night, right?
Right, and I would say we're definitely looking at that. For example, Barnes underperformed Evers by 50,000 votes. So that could suggest that Evers did not have strong enough coattails to help out Barnes in that race. Why we might see that be the case, though, is we saw in that U.S. Senate race, it became much more negative than the race for governor. So we may have seen some of those charges that were leveled against the Barnes campaign stick, where they did not do so much for Evers.
All right, Will Keneally reporting tonight. Will, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, in a year where history favored a Republican red wave based on the party in power, how did Governor Evers win a second term?
We've got results going back a decade. To bring you a piece of that answer, Naomi Coles is back at the maps, and she has more. Naomi?
This is a map we haven't seen before. I'm really excited about this one because now we can show 5 different main elections dating back to 2012 all through yesterday, last night, 2022. And this tells to me such a compelling story. One thing I should mention, though, just before I get started, is this map is a bit different style than these. This is just hard red and blue. It doesn't show the margins of votes, whereas these do. So that being set aside, let's go back to 2012. This shows what I would argue is the most purple example in the Obama era, when counties were voting by very close margins for both candidates. This is the last 2018. This is the last governor's race. Now, if I pull out and compare it to the race from last night, what you're going to see is that Evers won by a much larger margin than he did in 2018 in that first map, but he did it while still losing counties that he won in 2018. So counties over here, these were very light blue. He got them by very slight margins. As you can see here, Michaels is picking those up. Michaels is picking up counties, but again, this is the rural part of Wisconsin. And that kind of shows where exactly the story of this entire race is going. This map is almost identical to the 2020 map in terms of which counties were won by Republicans and which counties were won by Democrats. And the story there is Democrats are solidifying their vote. It's crunching down into these urban centers in the state, in Madison, in Dane County, in Milwaukee. Republicans are losing margins in the other big population center, the Fox Valley, and all of this begs a lot of questions. I talked to a couple analysts today about that. You can hear from them next.
Is it split ticket voters? Is it eroding suburbs? Is it a combination? Is it something else?
Yes, all of the above. I think a lot of Republicans today, and probably a lot of Democrats too, feel like Wisconsin sports fans after a weekend where the Wisconsin Badgers win, but then the Packers lose. It's really a mixed bag.
All those places, the biggest kind of vote-producing counties in the state were places where Republicans lost ground, and the gains they were able to make in some of the smaller counties just weren't enough to.
So let's talk about that, what Craig Gilbert just said, losing ground, gaining ground. This is a different map. It's not a results map. It's the map where Michaels gained ground in the red counties. and where he lost ground in counties where he might have won but lost points compared to Walker. And again, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about before. He's losing points in the Milwaukee suburbs. That's a Republican base. He's losing points in the Fox Valley. You can't lose points in the massive population centers of Wisconsin and expect to pull out a statewide win. Eric?
Naomi, thank you. And let's take a look at some of the other races from yesterday, starting with a race for Attorney General. Democratic incumbent Josh Kaul defeating Republican Eric Toney by more than 34,000 votes. Moving to the 3rd Congressional District, Derek Van Orden flipping that seat for Republicans with his victory over Democrat Brad Pfaff, that seat previously held by longtime Democratic incumbent Ron Kind. And Republican Brian Stile holds on to his House seat after winning re-election in the 1st Congressional District. And in the 2nd Congressional District, Madison Democrat Mark Pocan also easily winning re-election.
When we come back, why it's getting even sweeter to be in the chocolate business.
Plus, Madison College looking to give families dealing with food insecurity a happy Thanksgiving this year. To look at a pair of events they held today.
At McGann Furniture and Flooring in Baraboo, we know that hardworking people want the most value for their money. At McGann's, we've already sorted out and selected the brands that we feel offer you the most bang for your buck. From young couples to senior citizens, we offer a huge selection at prices that will fit your budget. And remember, at McGann's, we don't raise prices only to lower them later for a sale. Discover the difference at McGann Furniture and Flooring, downtown Baraboo.
Fry Construction wants to thank you for once again voting us Best of Madison 3 years running with 27% off gutters or insulation. Your neighbors already know how we strive to meet and exceed expectations with each and every project. That's why they voted us Best of Madison 3 years in a row. Experience the Best of Madison for yourself with Fry Construction. Save 27% off gutters or insulation with any full roof replacement project. Schedule your consultation today at fryconstruction.com.
The things to do this week.
You pour your heart into everything you do, which is a lot. So take care of that heart with Lipton. Because sipping on unsweetened Lipton can help support a healthy heart. Lipton. Stop chugging, start sipping.
Ready to style in just one step? Introducing new Tresemme One-Step Stylers. 5 professional benefits, 1 simple step. Totally effortless. Styling has never been easier. Tresemme. Do it with style.
How do you use your energy? Inspiring a spark of creativity? Working hard to reach your goals? Thinking outside the box to bring your vision to life? At Alliant Energy, we're creating more clean, renewable energy every single day to power what matters to you. Because even during the most powerful moments in our lives, we're not thinking about power, we're thinking about a brighter future. Alliant Energy, powering beyond.
Welcome back. Thanksgiving is almost here, and for many of us, that means mashed potatoes, stuffing, and of course, turkey. But for those suffering from food insecurity, their next meal is never guaranteed. And that's why Madison College held 2 food events to deal with this growing problem. Today, for the 16th straight year, culinary art students and staff cooked turkeys and potatoes for the River Food Pantry's Thanksgiving dinner.
This is all first-year students, so sometimes they don't always know the impact that they're making for our community. It's huge.
In total, more than 100 turkeys, 1,000 pounds of potatoes, and 80 gallons of gravy were prepared. A food drive was also held today for students near the Health Education Building. A second one is also planned for tomorrow from 1 to 4 at the Goodman South Campus.
Meanwhile, the chocolate business having a sugar rush this year. Data shows sales hit nearly $18 billion in the U.S. That's up more than $3 billion compared to back in 2019. Hershey reported sales of its chocolates jumped over 12.5% in the third quarter. One research firm points to the increase of at-home occasions, the need for fun and stress relief, as well as the availability and convenience of chocolate, all as reasons for the continued growth in sales. After the break, with abortion as one of the key topics in the election, how Planned Parenthood is reacting to the results in Wisconsin.
Plus, governor and Senate weren't the only items people were voting on yesterday. We'll take a look at some of the referendums.
An alert day declared for tomorrow. Severe storms make their way here. Gary will break it all down with his complete forecast.
Hi,
I am Dr. Aaron Schwab, General Surgeon at Stoughton Health. If you suffer from bothersome or painful spider veins or varicose veins, please join us for our upcoming seminar where you can learn what new procedures may be able to help you.
There will always be bumps in the road, but we got guts, America. We got freedom. We got power. We got future. So let's drive on and make the future we want to see together. Because your new Ford vehicle is just the start of a journey. So stop by your Ford dealer today and claim one of the thousands of new Ford trucks and SUVs on their way. We've been building this country for 119 years, but we're just getting started.
Wisconsin is a home of workers. We know it needs to get done, and we do it. Yet, we've been hit hard, some harder than others. Our contact may be limited, but we still can lift each other up. The Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy providers are working together to help keep your heat and power on. You may not ask for it, but we want you to know we're here.
Don't miss the 33rd Annual Winter Art Fair Off the Square, November 12th and 13th at the Monona Terrace Convention Center. Featuring over 100 Wisconsin exhibitors with a wonderful selection of ceramics, paintings, glass art, wood, jewelry, and much more. Place your bids at our silent auction Saturday only. Children will enjoy the Young Collectors Corner. Buy local for the holidays. The Winter Art Fair Off the Square. Put it on your calendar today.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal, come have a taste of Wisconsin.
America's Dairyland, as in real dairy.
It gives Culver's fresh frozen custard its famous rich and creamy flavor.
Like really rich.
So rich.
Rich and creamy.
And our cook-to-order Butterburgers?
They're topped with, you guessed it,
Wisconsin cheese.
But it's the smiles we put on your face with every meal made just for you.
That really makes our hearts melt.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Nice.
If you suffer from bothersome spider veins or painful varicose veins, please contact us at Stoughton Health to learn about what new procedures may be able to help you. Stoughton Health, creating excellence together.
Mixed in with all those close races last night were three that weren't even remotely tight. The referendums in Dane County asked opinions on marijuana and abortion. Andrew Banstra explains those votes don't mean a thing when it comes to law, at least not right now.
It's a great way to take the temperature of the county to see where people are at on these issues.
Pot legalization has been on the ballot 3 times in Dane County in recent years. And referendum author and county board supervisor Aaron Collins says it's only getting more popular.
Every time that question has been posed to the voters, it has increased in popularity. And last night, what we saw was 82% of the people in the county saying that they think that marijuana should be legalized.
But support doesn't always equate to statute, a fact Collins realizes.
This becomes increasingly difficult for Republicans in the Capitol to ignore how popular marijuana legalization is. This wasn't just in Dane County. This was in Eau Claire. This was in Green Bay. This was in other places around the state that all said they want marijuana to be legalized.
It wasn't just pot on the ballot in Dane County either.
At least here within Dane County, I mean, overwhelming support for repealing the abortion ban language. 85.5% voted to repeal.
Supervisor Cecily Castillo says that those results show Democrats and Republicans in Dane County are in favor of getting rid of Wisconsin's 1849 abortion ban. She hopes lawmakers eventually change constitutional rules to allow referendums to actually dictate laws.
If you look at what happened, for example, in Michigan, I mean, if we were able to bring a binding referendum in such a manner in Wisconsin, I firmly believe that you would see some similar results.
Both Cecily and Aaron say the referenda they proposed are for the people.
Ultimately, what we're trying to do is reflect the will of the people.
In Madison, Andrew Banstra, News 3 Now.
Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin says they're encouraged by the results of yesterday's election. The organization says their efforts were far-reaching across the state, saying they reached 1.25 million voters by phone, online, or in person leading up to the election. Planned Parenthood said with yesterday's results, they believe they're one step closer to restoring access to abortion in Wisconsin.
Temperatures back on the rise, but they won't be up for long. Here's Gary with your complete forecast.
Yeah, and that's why we have an alert day in the forecast for tomorrow for the potential for some severe weather right on that transition line as a cold front sweeps through late tomorrow afternoon and early tomorrow evening. That's when the alert day is in the forecast. High winds, some small hail, perhaps even an isolated tornado can't be ruled out as that line of storms move through. It'll be a quick moving system, though. We're not looking for widespread or long-lived severe weather, probably about a 3 to 4 hour period once that front comes through. And the highest threat will be mainly in areas west of Madison. You can see this in the Storm Prediction Center severe weather outlook. A slight risk or level 2 risk west of Dane County, across parts of western Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota, and eastern Iowa. A marginal or level 1 risk for an isolated severe thunderstorm about as far east as Dane County, but even into northern portions of the state, the potential there for some severe weather. High winds, the greatest threat, and again, that's mainly across the western part of the area. Tornado threat, not zero, but still pretty small. This is about a 2% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a point, or roughly about the size of Dane County. So again, not a great tornado threat, but it can't be ruled out. Just keep a weather eye to the sky tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. On the other side of the storm, different story. Blizzard warnings in effect for parts of North Dakota, winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories, and even ice storm warnings across parts of South Dakota. You can see the heavy snow up there, perhaps the potential for about a foot or more of snow over parts of North Dakota and far northwestern Minnesota, and significant ice accumulations, greater than a ½ inch from South Dakota and southeastern North Dakota and parts of northwestern Minnesota. Meanwhile, to the south, hurricane warnings in effect for the Florida East Coast and tropical storm warnings for much of the rest of the state from Hurricane Nicole moving westward at 13 miles an hour. That's forecast to move eastward as a hurricane crossing over the eastern coast of Florida, then basically heading northward into Georgia and the Carolinas, bringing heavy rain to that part of the country. We've got a strong southwesterly wind flow that's not only bringing up that record warmth, but also eventually some moisture. As this cold front drops southeastward, you can see the difference in temperatures. 60s here, 30s to the north and west, even 20s by the time you get into the Dakotas. Planning your night, low of 59 in Middleton, 60 in Fitchburg, 60 in Belleville. We normally have high temperatures around 50 this time of year. Across the rest of southern Wisconsin, 60 Janesville, 65 in Prairie du Chien. Tomorrow, look for skies to be variably cloudy, it'll be windy and very mild. A record high of 72 expected. The record high for Madison is 67. Future track, dry during the morning. Then here comes the showers and thunderstorms mid to late afternoon. That's when the highest severe weather threat is, when temperatures are in the 70s, but notice as the rain moves in, the temperatures start dropping off, the wind shifts to the northwest, and by the time we get to the end of this, later tomorrow night, the possibility exists for a few flakes of snow on the back edge of the precipitation. Rainfall amounts are pretty healthy, ½ inch to 3/4 inch, maybe locally an inch in some areas. 7 to 10 day forecast, a different story beginning on Friday and lasting through all of next week. Highs in the mid to upper 30s, lows in the 20s, a few flurries on Tuesday and Wednesday, and maybe again Friday night.
And coming up in sports, the Brew City Battle is just 2 days away, while Tyler Wallen's calling Friday's game a once-in-a-lifetime experience. That's next on News 3 Now.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Some ideas seem good, but aren't.
Maybe she could sell her house.
What could go wrong?
Like listing your house, then dealing with all the trouble, expense, not to mention closing costs. We Buy Ugly Houses can buy your house fast for all cash as is with no hassle. Call or click to sell quick.
Cut the cord and turbocharge your next project with Bosch cordless power tools from Menards. Bosch's battery system delivers a power pack solution designed to tackle the toughest jobs. Rip, cut, drill, and drive with Bosch power tools. Faster charging speeds, longer run times, and lasting durability. You can expect the best performance out of your tools with Bosch. Get 11% off all Bosch power tools and accessories now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards. The upcoming holidays are hectic enough without having to worry about appliances breaking down. Family-owned Brothers Maine is having a Veterans Day sale featuring kitchen and laundry deals on GE appliances. The lowest prices guaranteed. Feel like family. Brothers Maine.
Golden Cars is having a huge
huge fall sale with 2019 Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid starting at $16,995 or $285 per month. Don't miss out on 2019 Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid starting at $16,995 or $285 per month. Govan Cars has over 20 to choose from between our east and west locations. Get huge gas savings with up to 60 miles per gallon. So just come on in and ask for me, Crystal the Pistol Govan. Go to Govan Cars east or west.
You gotta go to Govan, GovanCars.com.
After 35 years in business on Madison's west side, Capital Car Cleaners is celebrating by offering all our customers $10 off an interior or exterior detail or $20 off a full-service detail. We detail all cars, pickups, SUVs, motorcycles, and full-size vans. Call today to set up an appointment at our Watts Road location and get $10 off an interior or exterior detail or $20 off a full-service detail. Check out our website at capitalcarcleaners.com.
Capital Car Cleaners, auto detailing at its best.
Some ideas seem good, but aren't.
Maybe she could sell her house.
What could go wrong?
Like listing your house, then dealing with all the trouble, expense, not to mention closing costs. We Buy Ugly Houses can buy your house fast for all cash as is with no hassle. Call or click to sell quick.
A local nonprofit is working to enrich young lives through reading.
Tomorrow, Josh shows how you can help put books into the hands of kids right here on the 608.
And will we see record high temperatures tomorrow? And how cold will it get by Veterans Day? Tune in tomorrow from 4:30 to 7.
In 48 hours, the Wisconsin men's and women's basketball teams will do something they've never done before. Play a game on the infield of American Family Field. And now the court is all set up and ready to go. And tomorrow the Badgers will have practice at AmFam Field to get ready for Friday's game. And even though he's a Twins fan, Tyler Wall knows just how cool this experience will be for him and his team.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You know, we get the chance to go out there in an arena that holds a lot more than the Kohl Center or anywhere else that we're going to play this year. So it's a really cool opportunity, and especially when we got it right here in Wisconsin, just another bigger, better home game.
It's pretty cool. We're going to get a really fun opportunity there to play a basketball game. I know that they've been working for this for a long time, trying to get a game played there at AmFam Field. I know it better as Miller Park, so I think I'll call it that.
I feel like he's not the only one. Now, Monday night, former Badger Trent Jackson was back in Madison serving as UW's honorary captain as Wisconsin celebrates 125 years of basketball this season. Jackson was the first Badger to post 1,500 points, 250 rebounds, and 250 assists in a career, and he led the Badgers to a NIT appearance in 1989, snapping a 42-year tournament drought.
I feel a great sense of gratitude to be in this position, to where Coach Gard asked me back to be an honorary captain to kick off the 125th year of UW basketball. It's pretty special.
Sunday is a big game in more ways than one for the Packers. It's a must-win. Well, really, their next 8 games are must-wins. But Mike McCarthy is making his return to Lambeau Field for the first time since he was let go in 2018. During his 13 years as the leader of the Pack, McCarthy led Green Bay to 6 division titles, 4 NFC championship games, a Super Bowl title, and 125 wins. And his former quarterback looking forward to seeing his old coach.
I'm going to give him a big old hug. I can tell you that much. I'm excited to see Mike. I know it means a lot to him to come back. I really do hope the reception for him is as warm as it needs to be. You know, he's got a street named after him. Obviously, he won a Super Bowl together, but he meant a lot to the town for 13 years. A big part of our success, obviously, being the head boss.
Cowboys are pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, look out. Final check, Gary.
Yeah, alert day for tomorrow for severe weather potential and record warmth, highs in the lower 70s.
All right, and thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.
Have a great evening, and we'll see you back here at 10.